up, my people? What's up, my people? It's your girl, Yamina Lejean. Welcome to the Red Light Special Live Talk Show. I am your host, and we have some things to talk about because we love to talk about love, sex, and relationships. There's so many things going on in this atmosphere, so many things we want to talk about in this pop culture and regular culture and urban culture, all of it. But before I get into that, let me bring in my co-host. So first we have our choreographer extraordinaire, Apollo Sadiq, and we have comedian, activist, and the OG up in the game, is Trina Be Real. What's up, y'all?
What's up? Boo?
What's going on? Hold on, I'm just getting my
background is not sexy, but I'm here.
You look good in that orange. I love your hair.
Thank you, dog. Thank you, dog.
Thank you for tuning in. I know you on set, girl. Working woman.
Listen, I'm making it do what it do. I wasn't gonna miss you this week, boo. I was gonna be here.
I heard that.
How you had to pop in?
Yes, you had to pop in. How we feeling over there, Apollo? We got you.
I'm good. Was having some technical difficulties today, but it's all right though. I'm in this bit.
Okay, we see you, boo. We see you.
We see you.
I'm in.
Okay, y'all. So, we have some things to talk about because, this is the Red Light Specials where we get all juicy and we talk about all the relationship tips and all them other things. And, the first thing I want to get into, because I know that everybody has been talking about this a lot, especially, with what's been going on with quarantine and what's been going on as far as what we see in entertainment. So today I want to start with being comfortable with your sexuality. And the reason why I want to bring this up, because, Lil Nas's video came out and they had a whole spill on it. I don't know, did you guys see the Lil Nas X video?
I did.
Yes, I did.
Yes, I saw it too. And, at first I would say I love the video. I love the creative of the creativity of the video. And then I like that he was showing, being comfortable with his sexuality. Now the blood shoes was on a different, little tip for me. But as far as artistry, I wanted to get you guys' opinion on how we're being comfortable with our sexuality and how that's important.
Well, I just don't understand why we gotta always put the devil with sexuality. That's my first thing. Like, that was my first thing. Like, I understood the metaphors of what they're saying, how he says that people perceive the LGBT community about devil and all that, but most of the world's not that fair. Like, everybody doesn't think because you're gay or you're in the LGBT community that you're demonic. So I just felt like that was a little much for me. I didn't, that was almost like, it was almost like giving permission to worship, you know what I mean? Like, and he was giving the devil a lap dance. Like, really, that's what we doing?
Okay.
That's
where you feel uncomfortable. I hear it definitely from your perspective.
Yeah, because that has nothing to do. Like, I mean, that has nothing to do with your sexuality. Like, he's condemning himself and putting himself on top of the devil.
Right, so I want to get your opinion on this, Apollo. We're talking about being comfortable with your sexuality, and Lil Nas brought this huge, controversy with him doing the lap dance on the devil. I personally thought it was creative, and I saw what he was saying. Some things, he is 21, so they are going to push the envelope a little extra. But I feel like he's trying to, break the norm of male rappers, and then there's so many male rappers undercover doing that. So let me get your take on that, Apollo. Being comfortable with your sexuality and Lil Nas.
Well, definitely being comfortable with his sexuality for any man to put on his perspective. And I mean, it's interesting because he is gay, and like I got the perspective of where he was going, and when I heard the direction that he went, why he created the video and where he was coming from, and etc. Like, guys is rapping about shooting, killing, stealing all day. Like, all they do is rap about is sin. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, fucking bitch, cheating, whatever, blah 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 blah. and his perspective is coming from a whole different thing. It's like, I was told I was going to hell anyway for living my truth. You know what I'm saying? That's a little different. But because he's gay, and because he actually put the devil in your face the way that he did, you know what I'm saying? I think that's what made people be, it was like such a shocker to them. But I feel like if it was a movie and he was dancing on the devil, I think people would have took it differently because it was a movie versus a music video.
If it was
That's
a
just my take. I
character,
feel like like TV and film, you can do crazy things like that in a story, and no one considers you necessarily to be demonic. But
mm,
in music, when you do things like that, then it's considered like, oh, you're demonic or you're going to hell. You know what I'm saying? So I just find that, we have a whole TV series called Lucifer.
I
So
said so
in
actually.
my mind, I'm thinking he took that creative. Now the shoes, now that's something different. Brother, I don't know that one. I can't speak. I can't help you.
I just think it. I just think it's just
Honestly,
so much with death. I just think being gay doesn't put you into the demonic. Like I just feel like he put too much, regardless of what people say. That's not how your life is, and I feel like he fed into it. Like you know what I mean? And then that whole. I mean, I get what you're saying with the artistry, but there was so many other creative ways that he could have been artistic. Like I like the way when he came out as a cowboy. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And like that was just dope because he was doing something different. But this was just like it was almost too much where to me now with the young people it's like as soon as you start singing about suicide now we got a high suicide rate, you know what I mean? Like it's just
That's true.
I don't know, it's just a lot. I don't think they're ready to digest as much as they take in because who helps them come out of that dark place, you
Right.
know?
And the funny part is the devil's supposed to be a fine ass mofo. You know what I mean? He's not even really supposed to look like that. That's the cartoon character that they created him with the red and the horns and all of that kind of stuff. But the main thing is I think LGBTQ community, I think not even just that community, just people as straight people, we should be comfortable with expressing our sexuality, and because people don't feel like they can express it, we'll get videos that come off very extreme because they feel like their life has been you know shut down or silenced or whatever. But I feel that we need to normalize being comfortable with their sexuality, and that's really important with being true to yourself.
Right, but I feel like that I feel like the community has come a long way than how it has been for years. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? It's way more open than life. I mean, especially when I was growing up,
Mhm.
it's a lot more open than I mean. There's several different communities, and even well as far as trans are getting even more work than they've
Mhm.
ever been getting before. So I
Mhm.
think I think we just spend too much time in something that it's a normal way of life now. Like there's no reason to bring more attention to something that people are starting to accept. That's not gonna make them accept it more because you're dancing with the devil.
Mm.
You know what I
I
mean?
see
Like
what
I
you're
think it was
saying.
another artistic way. Like I said, I loved him with the cowboy hat. I loved the way that he went and took country and put rap and twisted it around. But I don't know. I was like, where you going, little mess?
Right. Little mess.
Yeah, and he went from little X to little mess because that was like,
I love the wig part and why he was getting judged and all that. Like he really played that like those roles right there. Um, but his shoes sold out like less than a minute or something like that.
yeah,
They only had a few, and then Nike said that they weren't even a part of it. So that's a pretty interesting thing. But the message, what do you feel the message was with his video? And I'll start with you, Apollo.
just judging from the very beginning all the way to the end, and I did hear him talk about it. That's like the whole Garden of Eden, then seduced by the snake, and the whole perspective, but the snake, and then it was him, and the whole male thing. So it's putting that perspective of just the lifestyle that you live, especially when you grow up in the church.
Mm,
Like that's the one thing before they talk about anything else, they say you're going to hell for being gay. You know what I'm saying? So I see him trying to take that whole perspective of just generalizing just sin and just showing like everybody falls to some form of sin, but some sins are deemed worse than others. That's how society looks at it.
mm,
So it's like he fell into sin and then he was like tempted and then he went and he was judged. and he had a chance to go to heaven, and I guess he just decided, fuck. You know what I'm saying? He took an alternate route, and I guess, but a lot of people take that route. A lot of people choose sin over salvation every day. You know what I'm saying? It's a reality. They choose, well, I'm gonna go do this instead of do that. It might not be as extreme,
Mhm.
but if it don't matter if you stealing or killing, the devil looks at it all the same. So I think he was really just trying to flip that. And of course, clout chasing. He knew he was going to do something that was going to make people
Yeah.
be like, what the hell? He knew it. He already knew. He has a history of trolling the internet for years.
Hmm.
Mm.
Crazy stuff, making
I
fake
agree with that.
accounts,
I mean, if he
trolling
wanted to get people's
artists and
attention,
celebrities. You know what I'm saying? So I think, to me, he's like the Miley Cyrus, the black gay Miley Cyrus of our time that's coming out right now, pushing
Okay.
extremes.
Push it to the extreme. And what was your take on that? I heard you over there, Trina.
yeah, no, I was saying he wanted to get attention. He definitely got it.
He definitely did get the attention, for real, for real.
For sure, he got the attention.
I think people
Now,
were,
I think, go ahead.
I think people were more so disturbed of seeing a man lap dance on another man.
I think it was more of the fact that it was the devil. Like, had he just been dancing on another man, it might not have been so crazy. But you had the horns, you had him looking like Satan. It was like, yeah, I'm going all out. Like, I already sold my
But
soul
you
to the
know what's
devil, so at this point, might as well keep going.
What you saying,
I know,
Apollo?
because I don't play with that stuff either. But it's interesting. If he would have been dancing on a man, I think people. It's interesting to say people would have been a little bit more disgusted to watch it visually, if that
Mm.
versus him dancing on a character. Now, if he would have been dancing on a straight man, that really it would have had an effect, but it would have been in a different way. If you does that make sense? Because
Mm.
nobody would watching him dance on the devil. A guy could kind of watch that and be like, "Oh shit!" But a guy seeing another guy dancing on a guy in heels doing all that, that would have really fucked people's minds up because we're not used to seeing that. Like
Right.
literally just straight up, you know what I'm saying, on mainstream anything. So that's also I think about that too. It's like, yeah, we got an uproar, but at the same time, if he would have did that, it would have been a different type of uproar.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I heard that. I feel you on that. So Lil Nas is 21. Let's see what this trend will happen. What will happen with this? How what's going to be the effect of this video and sexuality and being comfortable, because there's so many rappers that are getting they undercover brothers, and they would never come out and show all of that. So maybe this is going to normalize, maybe this might be a gateway of normalizing other rappers who want to express themselves in that way. Maybe not using the devil per se, but just being comfortable putting their sexuality out there in the music video and people loving it.
Yeah.
I think people just need to mind their business. Like, stop worrying about what people got going on in their bedroom, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
mean,
Yeah.
that really doesn't have anything to do with the person. Like, how
At
people
all.
get down in their bedroom and what they like what they freaky and into, shouldn't have anything to do with a person. Like, 'cause you got people that's straight out here swinging. Okay,
yes,
so how you judging somebody that want to sleep with somebody else and you still doing the same thing, but you just not in a relationship?
right, right.
So I just think people need to mind their goddamn business.
Mind your
Mind
business. Mind your business.
mind
Mind your
mind
Mind
your
goddamn
business.
business.
Mind your business. So y'all out there, it's okay to be comfortable with your sexuality. It's okay to
Yes.
push the envelope, but also know there's going to be a little backlash when you push certain envelopes. But just make sure that what is your message? Make sure that your message is something that can change for the positive and not just for attention. You know what I mean? At this point in time, when it comes to especially Black people of color, and we have a platform, to push a message. Let's make sure that the message can help people to move forward. So, and being comfortable with who they are. That's what we are living in right now. Our truth. This is the age of
Yeah.
Aquarius. So we're supposed to live in our truth right now. So since we,
I'm on a live. I can't be the man right now. Y'all
okay.
can see me. I said I'm on a live. I'm on a conference Zoom. I can't do it. They can't hear me. That's why I'm staying away from people. Okay?
He's
I
like,
heard this.
I'm working, boo.
We ain't
I'm multitasking.
Y'all kept me. I should have been gone. They should have been let me free. Okay, let me free. You was holding me hostage. I got work to do.
we ain't trying to get you in trouble, girl.
You fine. You fine. They should have let me free. I should have been gone. Okay.
Big O. Okay, I heard that. Okay, okay. Well, since we're talking about sexuality and being comfortable with our sexuality, right now, with everybody having relationships, intimacy is really important in relationships. And a lot of people have been doing, trying to figure out who they are. They've been doing a whole lot of trauma bonding and things like that. And so I want to talk to you guys. How important do you think intimacy is in a relationship? And with what we see in music and what we see on, what we hear with music and what we see on television, does this generation have the capacity to have real intimacy in their relationships? Because that's super important. So I'll start with you, Trina, because I know you've been married.
Yes. Well, I think intimacy is very important because that's what makes spice up the relationship. You know what I mean? Like if you're not comfortable being intimate with your partner, then there's going to be a problem. You know what I mean? Because it's going to be like a one-way relationship. You got to be willing to bend even when you don't want to bend. Sometimes your partners have a higher sex drive than you, and if you have a good partner, you don't want to lose your partner because you over there being an old cotton ball. So I would say, and a lot of times, especially black people, we really wasn't taught about sexuality. Like we had such a hard time. Like if you get too sexy, you a freak.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to know your zone and know what your love language is, know what you like, so that you can find out what other people like and you won't be selfish. Because there's a lot of selfish lovers out there.
I hear you on that. Yes. I'd like to hear from you, Apollo. What's your take on intimacy and relationship and how important that is?
I think it's very important because I think like the part of being in a relationship, like the physical connection and being able to be open with somebody to explore in those moments and in that process. Because a lot of people like you can have sex with anybody, the physical part, but to me, intimacy is a different thing that has other aspects to it. If you just a one nighter, hit a quitter, I'm not trying to lay with you and cuddle and have no pillow talk. I need you to be out by the time I'm out the bathroom and wiped off. That's how I be. Like, you got to be out. Like, I'm not trying to have no conversations. But in a relationship where you're being intimate with somebody, intimacy, those like people just think it's just sex. No, it's so much. You don't even necessarily have to bust a nut to have an intimate moment or even just have a sexual moment. So if you're not doing that in a relationship, everybody has a itch that needs to be scratched. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you're not willing to be open to scratch that itch or even explore, because that itch might be in other places you didn't think they was. So, and that's the part about being open, finding someone that you can be fully comfortable with to have intimate and vulnerable moments. Intimacy is also vulnerability as well. I like to say that's also a part of it when you're being intimate with someone. So if you're not able to be fully vulnerable in different ways when you're in the bedroom, you're always going to be yearning for something else, whether it's being the aggressor or being the passive person in the situation. And the only way you can explore that, because there's a lot of guys, they won't say it, but guys want to be thrown around by a girl. They want to be jumped on and be like, get down and rolled on, you know what I'm saying? And like, turn around, hit me here, hit this, lick that. Like, it's girls out there like they're just like that. And there's dudes that love that. Like, so being able to explore in those moments and in those regions, like I feel like, yeah, that's important in a relationship and any connection that you have with somebody on that level. So
I agree with you. Intimacy is definitely important. I definitely think people get that misconstrued with sex. Some people just look at sex as sex, like it's a freaking handbag, and that's not what sex is. Sex is not a material thing. It's a energy connection. It's a sharing of the energy. You know what I mean? And so if you're in a relationship and there's no intimacy, then there can definitely, I agree, there can definitely, cause problems. But even with just regular friends, you're intimate with your friends in a certain type of way. You hug, you touch, you may, you know, be like, hey girl, or hey whatever, you know what I mean? I know, like with my friends, like you know, no one that I was sexual with, but we, you know, we're intimate or we're affectionate. Maybe affection would be a better word than intimate. But you know, affection, you could be affectionate with your friends, and you know that makes you feel good knowing that you have that connection with your friends. So if you're in a relationship, an intimate relationship, then intimacy is a huge deal. Otherwise, you guys might as well just be friends. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
definitely.
agree.
What are you saying, Trina?
I said I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I've had intimate moments. I've had I grew up with or whatever, we wouldn't fuck, but we would, like cuddle or like it was just comfortability. You know what I'm saying? So, and not so much we was doing anything and trying to. It was just literally just the comfortability of being in each other's space and being with each other.
Mm,
So, it said it don't necessarily have to be about sex either. And it's funny because like even with friends, and I think we talked about this too. I have a weird thing like I'm not touchy feely with all my friends or family, if that makes sense. I'm not like a big hugger or a big whatever, and
mm,
that's because it's easy for me to absorb people's energy, So it's like yeah. Sometimes I'm just like, when I meet people or hug people, you know what I'm saying. That's even for me to do that is a hard space. So trying to open up with somebody intimately, not just sex, but just on an intimate basis, I like that. I have that same ability. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's different. Intimacy, yeah.
When you can, um, when you can have intimacy without having penetration, I think that's the most spiritual kind of love making. When you somebody can make you come without even penetration, that's some deep loving.
mhm, mhm. I
Okay.
agree. I agree. And you got to be mature to understand that. Everybody don't understand that. So, you
Nah,
know,
And that's like some magical shit, yo.
the magical shit. So y'all been in quarantine with the quarantine bay. Make sure you guys are exploring your intimacy, because intimacy is all the way important. Intimacy is important. Being comfortable with the person that you're with is important. Being comfortable with your sexuality is important. So what y'all think this summertime gonna look like with everybody coming out of quarantine? People
It's
not
gonna be
trying
a
to
hot.
smoke,
It's gonna be like a whole bunch of rabbits. People gonna be doing. First of all, people gonna be butt ass naked because they ain't been out all year last year, so they gonna catch up this year for all the shit they didn't get to do last year. And
right?
matter of fact, they feel like it's the end of the world, so they gonna be doing some extra shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. It's gonna be a hot mess. I think we're gonna see a lot of more babies.
Yes,
Okay.
indeed. A lot more babies, a lot of people who sexually frustrated, and
Hmm.
and I think people are just going to be aggressive. Like, are we fucking or not? Are we having sex or we not? What's the
Right.
deal?
Right.
And I think, you know, people who have had their quarantine day, some people may be tired of the quarantine day and probably want a few days. You know, so that might be an interesting thing to see too.
Well, for some people, I think because they didn't have the right bay in the first place. So if you're looking for a new one after quarantine, that means you didn't have the right one because quarantine should have got y'all tight. You know, like for instance, me and my husband. To me, I feel like we got closer because we were going through a situation. We facing a pandemic. You don't know what that looks like, so it's like you start to really just enjoy the person. You start to find things that don't always consist of sex. Like, what else can we do to have a good time and find new
Mhm.
things?
Yeah,
I think people start cheating when they're not happy. Like when you don't have a love language. Y'all are
yeah,
not freaks together. Y'all gotta, you up there hiding and then you go meet somebody on the side so you can be a freak. Nah, that ain't it.
nah, you gotta be a freak with your person. Be a freak all the way freak. Be a super freak, super freak, super freak. So what was your take on that, Apollo? I heard you in the background. What are you saying, Apollo?
Oh no, I was agreeing with you guys. Like I'm just wondering. It's like, look, just because you can't catch COVID, y'all can still catch other shit. So still wrap it
Yeah.
up. Cause like bitches gonna be wild. They're gonna be like, fuck this. It's like, look, your COVID shot is not a shot for everything else.
Right. And I do feel like we were in the era in 2021, no, in 2020, where people weren't trying to be in relationships. Like I've seen tons of young people, especially they into the open relationships. They into a lot. They into a lot more than we was into. So I think people are just on some trial and error type shit right now. 2021 is gonna be trial and error.
Trial and error. I agree. The trial and error time. Trial and error. Which DICK and which PUSSY
The 70s, didn't they have swingers in the 70s though? That was like a big thing in the 70s. The whole
They
swinger
still have
vibe.
swingers. They still have swingers. I don't think swingers are ever gonna go out of style. Swingers are just people that just freaky. They just and they feel like, you know what, my husband freaky and I'm freaky. Let's find some more freaky people and we can be freaky together. So I don't think swingers are gonna lose. Those are just people. That's a community now. That's like being a
Oh, we lost you, Trina.
I'm here.
Oh, there we go. I hear you.
So I think just like having more than one wife is in now. You know, why we can't have more than one husband? I always wonder that. Like my
Yeah,
husband
what's
said,
up
a
with
nigga
that?
can have more than one
Masculinity.
and it's fine. But if a woman want to have more than one husband, it's a problem. I just
It's a
want to.
problem.
I'm not asking for me. I'm asking for somebody else.
I think we need to normalize women want, more than one man too. Some women want multiple men. Some women want to have threesomes with two men, and she shouldn't be shamed for that because men definitely talk about how they got two bitches. So it
And
should.
you know what's interesting about that too? Because dudes always want to gang bang on a girl. So it's okay when you want to gang bang with your homeboy or boys. It's for y'all and one girl, but that's all cool because y'all set that up though. It's like, nah, we decided that, so it's cool. You know what I'm saying? I wish I never understood that anyway, because if me and my dude, and I've had guys try that I was bisexual, it's like, nah, I don't want to. I want to look at her body like, girl, you beat, yes, but that's it. Like, I'm not trying to see, touch, smell, like, not none of it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see why guys would want another penis.
Right. Yeah. And for me, like,
I don't like. It's fucking. We don't know who. Girl, who's getting on, me or you? Is your turn? Okay, my turn now. I don't know. Like I just.
well, I know with the two, I'm a straight female, so I don't like to be too close to other people poontang. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? So, but guys are so open to do it all the time.
Yeah, they're so open to do that.
And I'm like, but you getting off on watching your homeboy do what he's doing to her. That's really what. But girl, that's another discussion.
Pulling the train when they're trying to pull the train on the girl. I don't understand that either. And then they say they straight, but you looking at your homeboy's DICK. So like y'all all naked.
Talking about yeah, bro, get that shit, nigga. What?
It's okay because it's
Cheerleading him on.
they homeboys. That's the key. You said the magic words. They homeboys. They know that. They know them.
Right, but that's still like
Y'all double. Let me stop. Like y'all double dogging something. But y'all, I'm confused. Y'all things are literally rubbing together, but y'all, whatever.
right. So please, what's the logic all in that? I don't understand it either. But it is what it is. Like we said before, we're in a time right now where it's trial and error. So people definitely gonna be doing some trial and errors. People definitely gonna be, trying to figure out, what some people may come out, liking something else. You know what I mean? How many people who went to the other side? How many girls who were heterosexual said F the men and went to the other side and vice versa? So I'm interested to see what this summer is going to look like with all people coming out of the cocoon.
Summer's gonna look like a mess.
I'll be like, stay away from me. Ain't nobody got no time for that. Ain't nobody have no time for no hoes up in the summer. The summer hoes, the quarantine COVID hoes.
Right. Right.
Who got time for that? All right. Well, we we definitely want to tell our audience. We want to definitely be clear as far as like where we stand as far as like being comfortable with yourself. We discuss the comfortability with your sexuality, and we're all here to support you being comfortable with your sexuality. And with relationships, having intimacy. Intimacy in relationship doesn't necessarily mean intimate with somebody else. You can be intimate with yourself. Sometimes you need to be intimate with yourself so you can get your own little pleasure. Because sometimes, you may have a partner that, like you said earlier, who might not like sex drive as you do. So you
Yeah,
still gotta be able to.
okay, yeah. There's no heat. It's just an air filter to keep the air from
You still gotta be able to please. You still gotta get your thing on you.
That's what I'm saying, because at the end of the day, like, at some point you're gonna have to get yours, whether you're getting it yourself or you know what I'm saying. So I feel it's important too. That's the way you explore with yourself. You get to know and realize things about yourself that you like and don't like. It's like, oh, I don't like that. And
Right.
trying it on yourself. Like,
That's to me. You should do that before you even in a relationship. You should know yourself before you get in a relationship, so you know what you like.
Yep. So you know what you like. You know what don't work. You know what will make your stuff go. You know what I mean? I know that I'm very particular. Okay, so I know exactly what she like, what she don't like, and
I
that's
feel it's
great.
important to know those things.
Yeah. Is there?
It's
Is there
because you have to explore it too, because sometimes people might like something that you might deem that you don't like, but
mm-hmm.
then when you try it, then it's like, oh, okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, TMI, but well, you know what? I ain't gonna say that.
Well, I want to hear. I want to hear that too. We in the red light special. What's this TMI?
Okay, so well, I think we've talked about this. We talked about this before, but the perfect example is eating ass. Okay. So the type of dudes I deal with, that's not really their thing. You know what I'm saying? They're just like, nah, I don't nobody go back there. But I always find a way, to sneak back there somehow, and then it just happens and it be in the moment, and then they just be like, what the fuck? But at the same time, they be like, ooh. So and it's like, and then it's like, well, that's my first time, but don't get used to it. And then next thing I know, they're getting used to it and asking for it. So like, you just never know what you like. But I've had other guys that really just did not like it. That's just like whatever. So, and personally, me, I don't really care for it. It's fun, but I'm just like, yeah, are you done? Can we do something else? Like, so.
Oh yeah, I'm not
It
really.
sounds like you like to turn them out. Like you like I don't really care for it, but I'd rather get them all and bothered, hot and bothered. Yeah.
It's like, you know what is funny? When I think of myself as a guy, when it comes to that, I can understand how guys talk about eating pussy. Like, I get it, because just it's the action, what they're getting out of it, etc. So I get that whole like fetish for dudes be like, oh, I love eat pussy like that. So I get it. You know what I'm saying? So, but you don't hear. You know what's interesting though? It's rare for you to hear girls that enjoy sucking dick really say that they enjoy it.
I have a whole girlfriend that love it. That's her favorite.
I don't understand.
That's her favorite. Okay.
I have friends that's their favorite, but they wouldn't like say that out in public. They would
No,
say
I have
that
a girlfriend will tell you. She tell you that's her favorite.
second.
That's her favorite, honey.
It don't know why it makes and they try to make it seem like the girl, it's like, ew, you nasty. Okay, like, but then you like get down, nigga, like, so I don't get it. So, and I know some people it's not their
I think it's
preference.
biased for people to be like, ooh, but then they want it done to them. So that's you shouldn't be
Yeah.
talking about ooh, but then you want it done. So it's a
It's
two-way
like,
street.
I don't get it. Like, it's the same thing, and it really is not, because y'all got more things going on down there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Well,
you know, but girls, they're always just like, oh no, I don't. And I'm like, why, girl? I love it. You might not have to fuck that nigga if you do that. You're like, what? That's how I used to get out of it, girl. That's how because I prefer, like, that's not really my preference back there either. Like, I'm just like, okay, babe, that's what you like, but you you'll be slick, like, bitch. You might not get what you thought you was getting that night because, oh well.
well, I definitely do know about straight men. who were on football teams, like when I was in college, how they liked girls to, eat their booty. And
Salad. Toss that salad.
there we go, toss the salad. I know a lot of straight men who actually like getting salad tossed by women. You know what I mean? And I was pretty surprised to hear how they were so like they really enjoyed it. Great man. And then they talked to me about it. It was like, oh, you mean it? You should try that one day. I ain't talking to nobody. I don't know what nobody talks mine. That is not even cute for me. For me. That don't mean that is a bad thing overall. I'm just saying that's just not my cup of tea.
But if he accidentally do it, you ain't gonna stop him.
I mean that's happened before. I didn't stop him. I ain't stop him. You know what I mean? Well, there's been also other shit like how Apollo does say, with the vajayjay, that there's a lot of things going over there. But I have had an experience, where guys don't really care, even when you period down there. Trina done said it back in the day. He eat me with the period on. Da, 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 da. Some people are just.
It's God. I had homeboys like that. They talk about it all the time, like it was.
The rapper,
and I was like, oh.
The rapper Trina, sorry.
Because they would have been like, Trina, really? I'm like, the rapper Trina, not me.
The rapper Trina.
Hey, I guess some guys, y'all guys out there, do y'all guys like a red light special?
Yeah, y'all like a red light special. I'm telling you, I've had some suitors who were pretty open with getting down with the red light special, child. And
I just have to clarify that Trina though, because I didn't want people to start.
Okay, we talk about the rapper Trina, not the comedian Trina over here on the red light special. We talking about the rapper Trina.
Yes, that's part of her lyrics, people. So just
part of her lyrics. It's part of her lyrics and her song, "The Baddest Bitch." Trina is the baddest bitch. I used to rap her all the time. But yeah, guys, there's guys who like the red light special. That's not really my type of thing. But I have had an experience before.
As the church says, come as you are.
Come as you are. Come as you are. The ones that like to toss a salad and have them a red light special. There you go.
Let me just say this to you before my phone goes, because I look like I'm about to lose y'all.
Okay.
Because I'm like on one bar. So I just wanted, before I, fade out, because I don't have my charger and I'm in holding. It's like, I'm like Runaways Lane right now. I can't do it. But what I'm going to say to y'all is, did y'all see Sweetie and Quavo in that elevator?
Oh, yeah, child.
Now, I think that's why she slid out of that relationship. I think he's a little rough on her or something.
Well, she smacked him too. I'm interested to hear about what that story is. You know what I mean?
Well, I think she probably found out about a chick, and looked like she was leaving the hotel. She probably called him, told him, "Look, I found something, and I'm leaving." And then he came from wherever he was and caught her coming out the elevator with her shit, and was like, "No," and dragged her back in. And that's what I saw the pro play. I was like, hey,
right.
He tell her she can't leave. You ain't going nowhere.
We'll see what comes out from that, because that's some crazy. A lot of people were talking about how that's normal in relationships. Like, oh, that's nothing. That's normal in relationships. No, that should not be normal.
Right. I looked like she was trying to break out. It looked like she was done with it. Like, you know what? I'm out of this. You know what? Matter of fact, she must have been in this room. One of them chicks called, and she was calling him like, yeah, you know how she might have popped up on him at the hotel or something. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
She was coming to town. You feel me? And then when she got there, it might have been a chick in the room, and then she probably called him like, yeah, you didn't know I was coming. And then coming out the elevator, I just caught a lot of stories out of that. I was like, look, whatever, she was trying to get away, he didn't let her. So
right,
that was like one of them back in the days when you got one of them old roughneck dudes from around the way that don't believe that you don't want to be with them no more. They want to fight you to stay. That type.
Oh, yeah, that type. Nah, we don't got time for that. I've been there, done that too, child. We don't got no time for that. And we don't really know what everything that went on with their relationship, but we saw it, and people had to respond. I more so pay attention to how the public responds to it, because these celebrities, they date each other so they can come up in the industry or whatever. But the responses to it just shows how society is. Like their mental is like so low and so like not mature, and thinking things like that is okay, and we need to normalize that not being okay.
That was not okay. Like
Right.
a woman should be able to walk away if she decides she don't want to talk right now, let her go. And if she want to come back later and talk, but snatching her and pulling her bag and pushing her and like tussling, that was like a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot.
And she's a beautiful spirit. I just don't like the way like how these Instagram or whatever social media relationships start, and then when they end, everybody got something to say. Like they were so happy, and then as soon as it's over, like, oh, I ain't like her anyway, or she was like, she wasn't saying none of that when they were together. So
right,
just let them break up and let it be done. Like they already gonna have a hard time getting over each other. Everybody got their 2 cents,
Right. Well, we're gonna keep an eye on that story, because we could definitely talk about it in next episode here at the Red Light Special. What's going on? We talked about their breakup, and now there's an elevator situation. And how can we relate that to what we talk about in the Red Light Special? We talk about love, sex, and relationships. And relationships, we got to have respect in our relationships. We got to have good intimacy. We can't be fighting each other, because we already fighting the world. You know what I'm saying? The world, who you have a partner with is supposed to be your partner in crime. So in a relationship, even if you breaking up, you still can break up with love. It don't got
respect for each other. Like like he did a lot for her and she did a lot for him. So at this point, y'all should just walk away with a nice, like, as friends.
Yeah.
As like, what, this ain't work out for us. Maybe it might come back later, but right now we just not good for each other.
Right. I agree. You have any take on that, Apollo? I know Trina said she's about to lose her phone. So I want to thank you so much for coming in. We lose you.
Yes, I love you guys. Thank you for having me. I mean, I'll be here the next time. Lose y'all in between. Y'all know I didn't just drop off. I just got like one ball looking at me like ling 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 ling. It's like a ling ling. It's holding on. I'm trying to like, okay, I only got 10 more minutes. Give me 10 more seconds then. Come on.
10 more seconds. 10 more seconds. Yes. So what's your take on that, Apollo? I know we were talking about relationships and intimacy,
It's not cute. I've been in but see, I'm not gonna say it's different, because with two guys, I have gotten some tussles with my exes before. A few tussles actually, but when you're in a celebrity like standing, you have to be very careful everything that you do, especially when you're out in public, because things can be perceived any way we want them to, as society, etc. Like we don't know, because I mean, not saying that that's what happened, but who's to say they wasn't playing? But you know what I'm saying? But it could have been a moment, let's say they were playing, but just how we would perceive it or how it was angled or caught, it's like, and then with him being a male and a black male, and going on in society day, like that's all we saw. But just imagine if that happened in a situation where no one even knew who he was and just thought he was just a regular person, and all that stuff. So I think like just having those perspectives in your relationship, having the respect. I know there's times when you get heated, but I say it's always best to try to walk away from the situation, because you never know where even your partner is that day, what headspace they're in. You might think this might be a regular day where we arguing, and then next thing you know what I'm saying, it gets us some crazy, crazy shit. So like, know what's going on or what happened with them, and I'm sure it will come out, but I know neither of them talked about it. So that says something about both of them, because they definitely could have been petty and put that information out there. I don't think they thought it was going to come out, or maybe he saw the camera and they maybe somehow was prepared for it. But for whatever reason, it wasn't brought out. But I also find it interesting with a lot of things we've seen in the past, like Chris Brown, for instance. Now that was, we all remember that.
Yeah.
And Rihanna was like, everybody's like, she was like America's like heart, you know what I'm saying? So, and then even Solange, Here's another example.
Oh, the
Seeing it does, yeah, it does become normalized, and I think when celebrities do it, that's what makes it even more normalized. Because people think that they're celebrities. What problem should they have? Well, if they're doing it, it makes sense. We broke, we don't got no job. Like, you know what I'm saying? We stressing. So that's why people look at it like that. It's like, well, they're doing it. You know what I'm saying?
right,
They're on a level of perspective. So everybody has problems, but it still doesn't make it normal. You know what
right,
I'm saying? Because they're celebrities, it still doesn't make it normal either. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people, they look at that and they see it, but that just lets you know how many broken homes there are out there, that
right.
that many people feel that that is normal. So yeah, you can't look at these celebrities because y'all don't be knowing, like, everybody thought what they thought until they saw the video, and then
Right.
now everybody's like, y'all weren't the perfect couple.
Right. So we're
you
gonna keep
know
our eye on this because I know, we'll see where this goes. Because I know that these young kids are looking at them, like you said, as an example. And we want to normalize, especially between Black relationships, love and respect. Because I think that society has this perspective of Black relationships is that, we got this hoe and pimp thing, and then we also got, abuse between each other, and we got a whole bunch of baby daddies. So I want to definitely and being a baby mama basically, and not a wife. And there are a lot of Black women that are wives. You know what I mean? And there's also nothing wrong with having a child. If you had a child outside of marriage, and you weren't married or anything like that, that happens with everybody. But I definitely want to normalize, like, Black couples having peace between each other. You know what I mean? So when you see things like that, it's a rapper, two rappers, perspective is, that's what they do. You know what I mean? And that's not normal. That's not right. And that's not what it should be. So, we don't know what happened with the Saweetie and Quavo, but we do know that the young people are watching, they're commenting, and then even the older people are having that same perspective of, okay, there goes another one. It's the same thing. So let's keep normalizing positive Black love, because that's what we need, especially right now.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I appreciate y'all coming in, us talking about some good topics today that is very relevant of what we see in this world's dream board. We're going to keep our eyes on these stories. Want to say today's the last day of Women's History Month. So shout out to all the women and the mamas and the grandmamas and all the women that, done did their thing. And we're about to go into, it's springtime, y'all. So this is going to be summer. And so, all the hoochie mamas coming out. So let's get ready for that. And the coochie colored shorts. I know I'm in my short shorts.
Yes, me too.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you, Apollo, for coming through. I'm going to see you next week. And you guys know where you can follow my people. We have, let's put this out right now for Apollo. Yes, so you guys can follow Apollo Sadiq right here. And you can also follow our girl, Trina Be Real. And then you can follow your girl, Yamina Listen. And go to the YouTube page, Yamina Lejean artist page. Go to the YouTube, Yamina Lejean. You can watch the episodes. It is up there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. All right. Ciao.